last video I was talking about the pitch. Oh no, where is it? I was talking about the pitch control for the monotron. I was kind of wondering, well, what is that again? Okay, and then I suddenly remembered when I looked at the this kind of simplified schematic from Korg themselves. So the pitch, well, first of all, actually, if we look at this, we've got this VCO. Okay, we've implemented the VCO going to the voltage controlled filter, and we've got our peak knob here, and we've implemented the cutoff, we've implemented the peak. Okay, we have our VCO, so that's another tick. The pitch thing here, as far as I'm aware, it's because this little ribbon controller has only a certain range. You can transpose the range by using the pitch knob. We don't really need to do that because we can just move up or down the range here ourselves just by, you know, doing this. So we can forget about that. Next thing to do is the LFO section. Okay, and then has a little button here as well, a little switch. We can see there's a switch there for the LFO section as well. Okay, so let's get on that. So we need to put in 2 more sliders. So once again, I'm just going to go to edit mode. I'm going to copy and paste this. So just doing this so I get the same size sliders, and I can just do 200, 300, and that's going to space them out correctly. Now, so it's let's check and just follow the thing. So it's LFO rate. So we'll label one as rate, and then the other I think is amount, is it? Intensity, right? Okay, which kind of is the amount, but we'll just call it intensity. Rate and intensity. I will give the channel rate and intensity. Okay, now if we save that, we've got our 4 sliders. Okay, rate and intensity. Now, so we now need to implement an LFO, which is quite simple. We can just create a new variable called ALFO, or ALFO for short, LFO, and it takes an amplitude value, which we're just going to set to be 1 at the moment, and it's going to take a rate value, which is a frequency, which we're also going to set to 1. Now, I know from playing with the monotron that the LFO kind of creates a downward sawtooth shape, so it kind of creates this kind of shape, so it's kind of this kind of shape, so like that, right? So we're going to kind of, that's what we're going to do. And in order to do that with C-Sound, we just select mode 5. So ALFO, the opcode, has 3 inputs. The first input is amplitude, the second input is frequency, and third input defines the shape of the LFO. Now, I just happen to know that 5 creates a downward sawtooth type shape, so we're going to use that. Now, right now, if we take the output of this, if we take the output, what did I do there? Didn't mean to do that. Say that if we take the output of the LFO and we plug it into here, right? So we're not going to replace the cutoff control. We're going to multiply the cutoff control by the values coming from the LFO. So remember, the LFO is going to create a shape like this. So it's going to start at 1 and go all the way down to 0, and then go back up to 1 and all the way down to 0 and back up to 1. It's going to keep doing that rate times a second. So it's going to do that once every second. Okay. So if we multiply our cutoff frequency by ALFO, then we should have a cutoff frequency that goes between 0 and the max cutoff. Okay. So let's try that now. So just multiply, put in a multiplication symbol here, and then K LFO. I have to make this K rate because the cutoff frequency for a Moog ladder is K rate. Okay, so if I save this, okay, so if we bring up the cutoff frequency, it's going to be brighter. If we bring it down, it's going to be, now the intensity at the moment is at max because our amplitude is at max. So we can do chan get K and then do intensity. And sure, while we're here, we might as well set the rate as well. So we get the rate from the other slider, rate. Okay, and now we should have controls for the rate here goes between 0 and 1. I'm going to just change that so it goes between 0 and say 10. And then bring it up. So and we can control it. So and we can control the intensity as well that we have of the sound here. So that's going to determine how much of the overall cutoff frequency is going to be reached, or to what. So for example, if this is 0.5 and our cutoff frequency is 2000, then that means the cutoff frequency the LFO is going to use is going to be 0.5. If intensity goes all the way up, then it means it's going to reach the full cutoff frequency. Okay, so what else? Right, so that's kind of that's that. That was pretty simple. Okay, so that's implemented the LFO part. So in the next video, we're going to implement the button that's going to let us switch between LFO and straight up cutoff frequency control. Right, we're flying it.